So now that you're all warmed up in your upper body, we're now ready to move into the upper body strengthening series. So this is welcome for all levels, from beginner to advanced. And if you are dealing with any injuries in your hands or your shoulders, please just modify appropriately or skip poses if you're feeling pain or grinding of bone on bone. So ideally, never feeling pain in a posture is my advice. Not pushing through pain, just stopping and coming out of the pose. And if you don't quite know what to do as a replacement, you can always get in contact with me and I can give you some modifications or suggestions if they're not already in the class. So we'll begin by coming onto all fours. And so knees underneath your hips and the wrists underneath your shoulders. And so from here, we're going to move just in the cat and cow movement that we did similarly at the end of the warm-up. So as you inhale now, round the spine. So this might feel a little counterintuitive. Round the spine, tuck the tailbone in, and as you exhale, look forward, dip the back, and let the collarbones open, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Inhale, round the spine, tuck everything in, push the hands into the mat. And as you exhale, allow the belly to fall towards the mat, gaze forward and open the chest and the collarbones wide. And just continue to do that with your own breath rhythm. So warming up the spine, but also warming up into the wrists again. And then just try to move a little bit faster. And a little bit faster, that might even feel a bit uncomfortable. Trying to time the movement with your breath. So inhale as you round and exhale as you look forward. And then even here, just take a pause and come to neutral. Just pausing yourself here. If it feels safe, you might like to turn the wrists here and continue the movement. So turn the fingers out to the side of your mat and then see if you can turn them all the way back, keeping your wrists directly underneath your shoulders. If that feels like too much, just keep the fingers facing forward and continue the same movement. Inhale, exhale, and moving at a pace that does feel a little bit heating and a little bit uncomfortable. So a few more times here. And then come to find neutral spine and just get really still. Gaze is forward now. Hands strong. If your wrists are still flipped, you can keep them here if you're okay with that. If you'd like to attempt flipping your wrists again, please do that now. And from here, we just do these small little circles. Move your hips back, so now the palms kind of peel up off the mat. And do these circular movements. So now the shoulders come forward and around. So now you're getting around all of the joints. You're getting around your body. So hips move back, up and around. You might even like to roll your head around. And this does feel pretty intense into the wrists and the fingers. But remember to always go to your level and not going from a place of pain. If you need your fingers pointing forward, just do that. There's no right or wrong. There's always little variations that we can make the practice our own. and make it work for us. Now switch the direction so the hips move back and around in the opposite way. Just a few more times here. And let's come back up to neutral. Flip the hands forward and just walk them a little bit further forward than your shoulders. Tuck the toes, and from here lift the hips high, keeping the knees bent but pushing into your mat with your hands, lifting the hips as high as you can with the knees super bent here. So the more bent you have your knees, the more you'll feel this into your hamstrings if you really lift your hips high. Really challenging the upper body strength, but also the equal strength of your legs here. And then from here, inhale, come down to all fours. This familiar movement. And then exhale, move back to down dog. And let's do that with our breath now. So inhale, knees come down. And exhale, move back into downward facing dog, keeping the knees super bent as you move back. Hips high though, knees bent. Inhale, knees come down. Exhale, hips go high, knees bent. Inhale, knees come down. Exhale, seat goes high. Inhale, knees come down. And this time, exhale into child's pose. Bend the elbows, tuck the chin in. A nice little reprieve for your spine, for your upper body, your lower body. Inhale, come back up to fours. Gazes forward. And exhale, chin in. Tuck the tailbone in. Bend the elbows so we get this beautiful opening into the spine and the upper body. Inhale, come up. And exhale, hips move back into your child's pose. Remembering to bend the elbows before you move back to get more lengthening into the upper body. This time, inhale, come forward. And keep coming forward. Don't move your hands or your knees. So now it might feel a bit like an upward facing dog position. Now as you exhale, move your hips back into that child's pose position. So slowly building on our sequence here. Inhale, come all the way forward. Hands stay where they are. The hips come down, the tops of the feet stay down. Shoulders roll back and down. Exhale, chin in, navel in. And move back into your child's pose. Inhale, come forward. And exhale, move back. We now make another little addition into our sequence. Inhale, come forward to what looks like your upward facing dog position. And from here, exhale, squeeze the elbows in and start to lower your body down. Forehead comes down, hands stay right next to the chest. Inhale, come back up, squeeze the elbows in. Push back on your exhale into child's pose. So this is super challenging for the lower back, for the arms. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, squeeze the elbows in as you lower your body down, forehead down to the mat, hands staying next to your ribs. And then as you inhale, use upper body strength to lift yourself up, squeeze the elbows in, and exhale, hips move back, chin tucks in, elbows bending as you're moving back. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, squeeze, elbows, lowering down. Inhale, come up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the elbows. And exhale, navel in, chin tucks in, and the hips move back as the elbows bend and your forehead comes down to the mat. Inhale, come forward. And exhale all the way down. Try to keep your knees connected to the earth, the tops of the feet connected, the elbows squeezing in. Inhale, come up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your elbows, you strengthen your lower back more. Exhale, chin in, hips move back. And just take rest in your child's pose here. Keeping your body in this position, start now to walk your hands over to the right hand side, hips remaining on your heels. Try to walk your fingers over as far as you can to the right, keeping your head in the center of your arms. So now you get this beautiful opening to the left side of the body, opening into the left rib cage tissues. Just notice that there is an equal and opposite reaction for every movement. So as you're opening the left side of the body, there is a tonifying and cleansing and compression of the right hand side of the body. And then start to walk the hands over to the other side. Now opening up the right hand side of your torso, the rib cage, focusing your awareness on the breath entering into the right lung. And that the gentle compression on the left hand side of the body has a kind of detoxifying effect. Now walk yourself back to center. It's like a nice little reprieve before we come up again into tabletop position. You'll make your way into a down dog position again. So hips go high, knees are nice and bent here, pushing into the hands on the mat, particularly the index finger knuckle. So lift your hips nice and high, but keep your knees super bent here. And to have a really straight spine and beautiful traction along the whole of the spine, tuck your chin in a little more, as though you're going to gaze at your navel. And from here, spring forward into a plank position. So come forward, gaze forward, lift your hips a little higher. With each exhale, bringing your navel in towards your back body, towards your spine. Couple more breaths here. Just hold, gaze forward, soften the face. And then exhale, push back to your down dog. Knees bent, hips high. And now moving with your breath per movement. So inhale, come forward. Try not to let the hips sag down. Exhale, hips go high. Inhale, spring forward. As your heels push back, see if you can gaze forward a little more. Exhale, hips go high. Let's do it 2 more times. So the more you look forward and reach forward, the more your heels reach back. So it's like this beautiful traction along the whole of the body. 1 more time. Exhale, the hips go high. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, back to your downward facing dog. Knees come down to the mat. Sit back on your heels for a moment and just allow the hands to rest. And we'll come down to lie on our back. So bend your knees when you come down. And place the feet about hip distance apart and the hands resting next to the side of the body. So as you inhale, lift the hips up and lift the arms up and over the head. And as you exhale, the hands come down and the hips come down at the same time. So now try to smoothen out your movement with your breath. As you inhale, the hips come up, the arms come up and over. And then as you exhale, the hands come down and the hips come down. Let's do it 3 more times. Inhale, hips come up, arms come up. And exhale, the hands and the hips come down. 2 more times. And exhale. 1 more time. And exhale, come down. And the next time we go into this, we're going to hold for about 5 breaths, and you can choose where you place your hands. So inhale, lift your hips up only. And you may choose to just place your hands in a perpendicular shape next to your hips, so the palms face the hips. You might just choose to push into the upper arm and the elbow, using that as your leverage. And that might feel really good for your body. If you prefer the interlace underneath your body, you can roll onto the outer upper arm and interlace the fingers underneath your seat and push down with your arms and your feet, lifting the hips higher, but making sure you're not drawing your shoulders down and away from your ears. So it can be a common misunderstanding that we want the neck flat here, but we actually want a little gap in between where your shoulders are and where your head is connecting to the mat. So you want a slight little gap where your neck is actually off the mat, just to keep it safe. Take 1 more breath, lift as high as you can, and then exhale, slowly release your arms and roll down. And then from here, you can come to roll on to your belly. This is we start to wind down before the class finishes. So this posture, which is called Ardha Shalabhasana, which It's where we really strengthen both sides of the spine and the sacrum. So let the hands just rest next to you and let the forehead come down to the mat. Bring your palms on to your back with the palms facing up. So bring them onto your sacrum, overlapping. Now as you inhale, look forward and swing your left arm forward into like a saluting kind of position. So keeping your legs where they are, just trying to lift as high as you can with your chest and your left arm. Then the left hand comes back to the sacrum and the left temple comes down to the mat. Same thing for the right side. So inhale, right arm comes forward, lifting the chest, lifting the body with as much back strength as you can. Exhale, the right arm swings back, the right temple comes down. Again, left arm and left temple comes down when the arm returns to the sacrum. Right arm, lift the chest, exhale, right arm back, right temple down. This time, listening carefully, left arm comes forward into your salute position. Lift the opposite right leg as much as you can. Exhale, left arm back, right leg down, and the left temple comes to the mat. Inhale, right arm forward, left leg lifts, strengthening the opposite sides of the body, the spine balancing itself out. The right arm comes back, the left leg comes down. And continue doing this, just another round. Left arm, right leg. Might even feel some sensation into your colon. Exhale, left arm comes down, right leg comes down. The left temple comes to the mat. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Exhale, all the way down, right temple down. And now interlace your fingers at the low back. Squeeze your legs in together. And on your next inhale, lift your chest and lift both legs. Try to pull your interlaced fingers back and also trying to lift your thighs a little higher off the mat. Just 2 more breaths here. Lift your chest a little higher, continuing to breathe, and lift the legs a little higher, squeezing the inner thighs together just a little bit more. 1 more breath in. And exhale, come all the way down. Resting one cheek on the mat and feeling how the spine just automatically corrects itself here. And then turn your other cheek onto the mat. And then come to lie onto your back for just a brief moment of rest. You may even like to draw the knees in towards you, just to release any tension that might have come up in the spine. And then you can release your legs out into Shavasana. So allowing the heels to be just a little wider than hip distance apart. And see how openly the palms can just fall open by your side. Allowing the eyes to close down. Just count back from 5. Conscious breaths. So with each exhale, you go down a number until you get all the way to 0. So with your next exhale, 4, The next exhale, 3. And just setting the intention that with each exhale, your body's sinking just a little further into your mat, into surrendering to relaxing. And when you eventually reach 0, just allow there to be no control of the breath. And just allowing the body to surrender to rest. If you have more time to rest and to stay in Shavasana, please do. Allow your body to have permission to take pause and rest and restore. If you're coming out now, start to gently bring movement into your extremities, so into the toes and the fingers. You might even just gently like to move the head and rock it from side to side, just super, super slowly. And then gently roll over to your side. And rest in a child's pose just before coming up to a seat. So allow your whole body to balance with your mind and your breath. And then allow yourself to come up to a comfortable seat. Just take a moment to allow your eyes to close and just to now check in from what state you're in now as to where you might have been when you began practice. Feeling a sense of gratitude for your body in the state that it's in right now, and for your dedication to your health and vitality, and to your self-care. Bring your hands to heart center, just to acknowledge you and to acknowledge the teachers that you have around you in whatever way they appear, in animal form, human form, seen or unseen, past, present or future. And bow in honor and respect to those people who keep you balanced, who remind you that you're loved and that you're enough just as you are. Namaste.